Every morning at 5:47 a.m., before my coffee, before the sunrise, I'd take 6 pills. For my joints, for my memory, for my gut. The doctors said it was normal. "You're 68, Arthur. This is just aging." But one blood test changed everything. The inflammation destroying my hands, my mind, my life. It wasn't coming from my joints at all. It was coming from my gut. I thought I was fighting 3 separate wars. One, the pain in my knuckles, so bad I couldn't hold my grandson's hand. 2, the fog in my brain at 3 p.m. where I'd forget if I had eaten lunch. 3, the exhaustion that made climbing stairs feel like a mountain. 3 enemies, I thought. But Harvard researchers say it's one root cause: chronic gut inflammation. The gut is where 70% of your immune system lives. When it's on fire, your whole body burns. In the next 13 minutes, I'll walk you through the 5 changes that gave me my life back. No surgery, no prescriptions, just 5 shifts in how I treated the garden inside my body. Because healing doesn't start in a pharmacy. It starts at your kitchen table. It starts when you stop and listen to what your body has been screaming for years. My name is Arthur, and this is the story of how I put out the fire.
When my daughter, she is a nurse, saw my CRP levels, she went quiet. "Dad," she said, "your inflammation markers are 3 times normal, but they're not testing your gut." Here's what I learned. The gut isn't just digestion. Mayo Clinic calls it your second brain. When processed food, sugar, stress keep the alarm ringing, your immune cells get confused. They stop attacking invaders and start attacking you, your joints, your brain, your heart. That's why my hands ached. That's why my mind went foggy. That's why even getting out of bed felt like labor. It wasn't 3 problems. It was one fire, spreading underground, like roots no one could see. One morning, stirring my oatmeal, I noticed something small. The smell of cinnamon, the warmth in my hands. For the first time in 8 months, I didn't reach for ibuprofen before breakfast. That's when I knew. Healing doesn't roar. It whispers, and it begins with 5 simple truths.
The problem. Every fire needs fuel. For me, that fuel was sugar, fried food, white bread. Things that came in shiny packages and never expired. Harvard Health calls them inflammatory triggers. They feed bad bacteria that release toxins into your blood, inflaming everything they touch. What I didn't quit overnight. Week 1, I replaced white sugar with honey in my coffee. Week 2, I swapped fries for roasted vegetables with olive oil. Week 3, I chose oatmeal over toast. The Mediterranean way isn't a diet. It's an act of daily kindness toward your gut. Fish, greens, olive oil, beans. The result? By week 3, my morning stiffness was gone. My hands could grip a pen without shaking. Think of every meal as water poured onto the fire. The problem: I had an army of good bacteria in my gut, but I was starving them. The science. Probiotics are your gut's repair crew. Yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, they send reinforcements. But even heroes need food. Prebiotics, fiber from oats, bananas, garlic, apples, are what keep your soldiers strong. What I did? Every morning, Greek yogurt with blueberries. Every dinner, a side of fermented vegetables. My grandson loved the fizzy milk, kefir. We'd laugh, sharing a bowl before bed. Cleveland Clinic found that restoring gut bacteria doesn't just improve digestion. It lifts mood, sharpens focus, reduces joint pain by up to 40%. The result: week 5, the 3 p.m. brain fog disappeared. Week 7, I could remember my grocery list without writing it down. The problem: I was living in a constant state of worry. Bills, health, the future. My body thought I was being chased by a tiger every single day. The science. When stress becomes chronic, cortisol floods your bloodstream like smoke. Mayo Clinic says stress raises inflammation markers by 40%. What I did? I started small. 5 deep breaths before bed. Turned off the TV news after 8 p.m. I'd say to myself, "You're safe now. The fire can rest." Sleep isn't just recharging energy. It's when your gut repairs its walls, sealing the cracks that leak toxins into your blood. The result? Week 4. I slept through the night for the first time in years. Week 8, my resting heart rate dropped 12 beats per minute. The problem? I'd stopped moving. Not because I was lazy, but because every step hurt. The science. NIH studies. Just 15 minutes of walking daily reduces inflammatory proteins in your blood. Movement isn't just exercise. It's how your body clears waste, pumps fresh blood, and tells your brain we're still alive. What I did. Day 1, I walked to the mailbox. Week 2, to the end of my street. Week 4, 2 blocks, waving at Mrs. Helen and her roses. By week 10, I was walking a mile. Not fast, not far, but steady. The result? The pain didn't vanish. It softened. My knees stopped clicking. And something else happened. I stopped feeling invisible. Every step said, "I'm still here." The problem? Even after 4 fixes, I plateaued. Then my daughter asked, "Dad, how much wine are you drinking?" 2 glasses every night. To relax, I'd say. But alcohol irritates the gut lining, like pouring gasoline on an ember. The science. Oxford research. Within 3 weeks of cutting alcohol, Gut barrier function improves by 25%. Even NSAIDs, ibuprofen, aspirin, can damage the gut when taken daily. What I did? I replaced wine with chamomile tea. Not as fun, I joked with my wife, but I wake up clearer. I talk to my doctor about alternatives to daily painkillers. The result: week 2 without alcohol, my sleep deepened. Week 4, my gut stopped feeling bloated after meals. Week 6, I realized I didn't need the wine to relax anymore. I had something better: peace.
Healing never arrives in a rush. It comes quietly in the space between effort and surrender. 90 days after I started, I woke before dawn, but this time the silence felt different. I placed my palms together, opened and closed my fingers. No resistance, no fire, just movement, effortless, free. Walked to my workshop. The smell of sawdust, pine. On the table, a wooden airplane I'd abandoned months ago, wings waiting for my touch. I picked up the sandpaper and smoothed the edges, not just of wood, but of all the years I'd spent fighting my own body. My grandson ran in that morning. "Grandpa, you're building again." I handed him the plane. "Yes," I said, "and I think I'm rebuilding more than that." I realized healing wasn't about reversing time. It was about restoring rhythm, the rhythm between effort and rest, discipline and grace, body and soul. The pain was gone, but more than that, the distance between me and my own body had closed. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was surviving. I felt like I was living.
You might be wondering, did it last? Yes. Not because I'm perfect. I still have hard days. Days where my knee aches or I'm tired. But now I know the language. I know when my body is asking for rest, for better food, for movement. I'm not 30 again, but at 68, I can build toys with my grandson without pain. Walk 3 miles on Saturday mornings. Remember conversations without writing notes. Sleep through the night. Wake up without dread. And here's the part that surprised me most. 6 months in, my doctor ran my blood work again. CRP levels? Normal. Cholesterol? Improved. Blood pressure? Down 15 points. He asked what medications I'd added. I said none. I just started listening. He paused, looked at the chart, and said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I'm going to start recommending this to my other patients." That moment, sitting in that sterile office, I realized something profound. The body doesn't need rescuing. It needs listening. So here's what I want you to know.
You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to be perfect. Just choose one thing this week. Swap the sugar in your coffee. Take a 10-minute walk. Eat one probiotic-rich meal. Sleep 30 minutes earlier. Say to yourself, I'm safe. I can rest. Because healing doesn't start with a miracle. It starts with a single gentle act that says to your body, I'm listening now.
Thank you for spending these few quiet minutes with me. If this story about healing inflammation and finding peace through gut health touched your heart, and if you know someone, a parent, a friend, who's been told their pain is just age, please share this with them. Because sometimes healing begins not with medicine, but with understanding. A quiet reminder that says, you are not broken, you are healing. Stay close, subscribe, and join the Elderly Wisdom Cares, where every story brings another moment of peace. Your body is speaking. It's time to listen.